Kestra 0.20 just dropped and there are a bunch of new features to help you orchestrate your workflows. Starting off, we're introducing apps, custom UIs to help you interact with Kestra from the outside world. With each app, you can specify custom front-end blocks, such as forms for data entry, output displays, approval buttons, or markdown blocks. Your flows act as your backend, processing data and executing tasks, while apps serve as the front end, allowing anyone to interact with your workflows regardless of their technical background. Check out the dedicated video to apps to help you learn more about how to use them, and the dedicated guide to help you build with them. Moving on, we've also introduced team-level isolation for storage and secrets. This means you can now configure dedicated storage backends or secret managers for namespaces and tenants, giving you more flexibility on how you want to set up Kestra. This is particularly useful if you need to isolate different namespaces and tenants from one another, making sure that you can also completely isolate the storage and secret managers. We've also improved the user management with invitations. Now when you invite users to your Kestra instance, you'll be given an invitation link and you can set it up to send an email where users can then set up a username and password and then they'll get an account. No more having to add a password manually and send it to them later. And another feature to help you with multiple users is announcements. Now you can send announcements and updates to all the users in your Kestra instance about planned maintenance, any outages, and anything else relevant. These announcements will appear as a little banner in the corner, making it easy for users to see. Moving on, we've also introduced system labels. Any label that is prefixed with system dot will be classed as a system label. This is a great way for being able to add extra metadata and information to executions in your Kestra instance. Next up, we've introduced flow level SLAs. This is particularly useful for when a flow runs for too long. Now you can configure whether it should cancel it, fail it, or log it as a warning, meaning that you can control the outcome here. This means the SLAs allow your workflows to meet your requirements and prevent things from running for far too long and costing precious resources. Going along with the flow level SLA, we've also made some enhancements to flow triggers to use this ability. Now you can configure certain conditions to say that your workflow should not trigger until another one has finished by a certain deadline. We are looking forward to seeing how you use this capability in your workflows. We've also added a bunch of new properties to help you configure your tasks, starting off with the new runIf property. Now previously, if you wanted to be able to configure simple conditionals for one singular task, you'd have to wrap that in an entire if task. With runIf, you can add that as a single property to that task and add a condition to whether it should run or not. This is super useful if you just want to be able to decide whether a task should run or not based on a condition. Along with that, we've also added allowWarning. So previously we had allowFailure that allowed a task to fail, but your workflow could continue. Now you have the same with allowWarning, which means that if a warning comes up, you can allow it to proceed without failing the workflow. This means you can now allow warnings on tasks, which will now be marked as successful even if they log a warning. We've also improved how you can manage error logs as well in your workflows. We've introduced a new expression called error logs, which will allow you to be able to capture the logs produced from tasks to be able to then send a notification to Slack, for example. This will help you understand what went wrong from the notification itself without having to first jump into the Kestra logs. You'll now notice as well that you can now bookmark workflows. So that means if you've got a few workflows that you commonly use, you can now bookmark these and access these easily from the UI. We've also added a bunch of other features as well, so I'd highly recommend that you check out the release notes for the full updates. We can't wait to see what you do with Kestra 0.20. Make sure to join our Slack community where you can discuss with us your thoughts, and again, give us a star on GitHub.